back to work on a Wednesday night in Flint. They're filing in for what should be a good one tonight as the FIrebirds play host to the Kitchener Rangers. Off back-to-back overtime wins last week, the Birds are looking good in the early stages and will try and make it 3 consecutive wins in 4 out of 5 to start the year. Let's dive in for the FIrebirds and the Rangers. Flint FIrebirds hockey is on the air, and it starts right now. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the broadcast booth for our pregame show tonight, driven by Shea Automotive. Here to tell you the story, I'm Brian Gardner. We've got the FIrebirds and the Kitchener Rangers as the Birds coming off of overtime wins on both Friday and Saturday night last week. The Friday win was on the road against these Kitchener Rangers, a Rangers team that was really scuffling entering that matchup. Kitchener had found itself on the receiving end of 2 lopsided losses, most notably 12-2 on the Saturday of OHL opening weekend against the Windsor Spitfires. However, since then, Kitchener's played the Birds tough in an overtime win for Flint on the road last week on Friday, then won games on Saturday and Sunday. So suddenly Kitchener's got itself a little 3-game point streak going and looks to have righted the ship. The FIrebirds on the other side of things have been working overtime with an overtime win in Kitchener 2-1 on Friday, then 3-2 over their visitors from across the Blue Water Bridge, the Sarnia Sting, on Saturday. So back-to-back wins for the FIrebirds. Flint now has wins in 3 of its 4 games so far this season. You know they want to extend and keep the good feelings rolling, maybe with a little bit less stress though, trying to get it done in regulation and snap that point streak for the Rangers. Before we get too far into this one, let's take a look at the highlights from those games we're talking about. We'll begin with the FIrebirds at home against the Sarnia Sting. First period, horrendous bounce for Flint. That goes right to Beckham Edwards, sneaks it through Nathan Day on the short side, and it's 1-0. Birds answer in the second. Scrum in loose in front of the net, finds its way to Chris Thibodeau. He's fired up for his first as a FIrebird, and it's 1-1. Later, Flint's going to take the lead for the first time. Shorthanded, Thibodeau springs Lombardi for that. Top shelf, he scores. Birds take the lead 2-1. Sarnia to answer in the third. Here we go again. It's going to be Beckham Edwards getting the feed, getting his second goal of the game. That ties the score. We're off to overtime, and in overtime, it's all Flint. Chaos in front of the net. Kanyan for the trailer. Caden Petrie. Send the people home happy. There's your game winner. Petrie's second of the year, and the FIrebirds take it by a final score of 3-2. Kitchener was in action on Sunday. First period, bad giveaway for the Rangers, and it's Vilmer Arlickson all alone. Slams it home. The Guelph Storm take a 1-0 lead. Off to the second we go. Rangers are going to tie it here. It's poked back out to Cameron Reed. Ripped through traffic. Top shelf off the back bar. 1-1. We are tied. Later in the period, Guelph's going to grab the lead. Storm down the right wing. Fed it in front to Hunter McKenzie. He shoves it home. It's 2-1 Storm getting the edge now. Off to the third. Early minutes. There's going to be a shot that does not get through. But Antonino Pugliese in the slot. Oh my, get a piece, but not enough. We've got a tie hockey game at 2-2. Later, Kitchener's going to take the lead for good. Third period power play. Luke Ellen is camping in front of the net. Little deflection. He'll make sure that gets across the line. This is going to be your game-winning goal. Back-to-back wins for the Rangers, who now have points in 3 consecutive games. Getting a look at how these two teams match up so far in the early going. Now, if you recall, we mentioned that Kitchener had a 12-2 loss. So the goal differential is -12. In one of the games, it was -10, though. Kitchener, 11 goals, only 23 goals against. Birds have been playing tight hockey games. They've scored 14. They've allowed 12. Special teams, the FIrebirds, you look at that penalty kill and think 75%, not that good. It has been excellent. Only one power play goal against since the season opening win, during which the PK went just 4 for 8. So the FIrebirds and the Kitchener Rangers. Feels weird that these two teams are seeing each other already. This is 2 games in the span of 5 days for Flint and Kitchener, who then aren't going to see each other again until January to finish out the regular season series against one another. They only play 4 overall. 2 of them here in the span of a week, 2 of them in January. in the span of 2 weeks. So say goodbye to Kitchener after we say hello once again, but we do have a lot more to talk about before we even get to the second game against the Kitchener Rangers as we roll along on the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive. When we come back, we're going to take a look at today's lineup, some players to watch, get you set for puck drop, all that and more. Coming up after this, this is the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive, Birds, and the Rangers on FHN.
The Shea Mega Lot is GM's #1 certified Car Bravo dealer. Here's what it's all about. With Car Bravo, all makes and models up to 10 years and 100,000 miles come with a 6-month, 6,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. Like this. 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 Ford, Audi, Lexus, Ram, Toyota, Jeep, Lincoln. The time is now to take advantage of the #1 certified GM Car Bravo warranty. Imagine where you could go. Just saying.
Flint and Kitchener, Firebirds and Rangers getting you all revved up for this one on the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive as the Firebirds looking for their 3rd consecutive win, trying to snap what is a 3-game point streak for the Kitchener Rangers. Taking a look at today's lineup, the Rangers getting a little bit of reinforcements. They look a little bit different than they did the last time the Firebirds saw them. A couple of players back from suspension. There were a couple of moves made by Kitchener in recent games, and they got an NHL prospect back from the Vegas Golden Knights in Trent Swick. He's up there on the top line on the left wing. So the Rangers maybe a little bit more on this lineup than you saw on Friday, a few days back in Kitchener. Let's take a look at our players to watch. We just mentioned him. Trent Swick, the Vegas Golden Knights prospect, will make his season debut tonight. He's an overager. He was returned from the Golden Knights earlier this week. Big 6'7" winger. You see 23 goals and 37 assists last season for a Kitchener team that was really talented up front. He was a 6th-round pick in the 2024 draft, and he stuck around for a while in camp with the Golden Knights. Clearly, he showed them something before they returned him back to Kitchener for his overage year. We'll see what he has in his first go-around here this season. To the blue line, and Jakub Kromiak making his Rangers debut and his season debut. He was acquired in a trade from the Kingston Frontenacs a couple of days ago. Former #8 overall pick in the CHL import draft back in 2022. He was a Sudbury Wolf, and he played with Matthew Mania, Evan Conyon, and Nolan Collins in Sudbury. He played with Chris Thibodeau in Kingston last season, and he gets a look at some of his former teammates here tonight in his debut as a Ranger. And Adrian Miseljevic. He's a guy who had the lone goal against the Firebirds last week in the 2-1 overtime loss for Kitchener. 2 goals and 3 assists so far this season in 5 games played. 23 goals, 35 assists last season as a Ranger. Clearly going to be one of their go-to guys up front in terms of who they look for to put the puck in the net. Miseljevic, a guy who can score the puck. Keep an eye on him all evening long. Taking a look at the Firebirds, and on this lineup, there are a couple of players making season and also OHL debuts. 4th-line center Max Anderson is in there for the first time this season. Had been a scratch his first 4 games. Did get banged up with a lower body injury pre-season, but Anderson is in there as the 4th-line center. Also, Christian Colosimo will make his OHL debut as the 3rd-pair left defenseman for the Firebirds, who go back to Nathan Day for the 5th consecutive evening in net. Our players to watch. We begin as this top-line center, Caden Petrie. 2 goals and an assist on the season. Last time he was on this ice, he brought the house down. Big game-winning overtime goal on Saturday. In those 4 games, 3 points. A Tampa prospect putting what was his upper body injury last season behind him. He's looking good and comfortable in the early goings this season with the Firebirds. To the blue line, and Blake Smith. He's back in the lineup. Missed the last 2 games after a suspension for throwing equipment few games ago. Now he is a steady defenseman. Big addition despite the fact that they've won both of the games without him in his absence. He's an overager. He wears an A on his sweater as an alternate captain. You know he's going to be a steady force, a stay-at-home guy paired with Matthew Mania. Mania will play his 5th game and his 3rd on the side of Blake Smith. Looking forward to seeing big number 5 back there on the blue line. And Evan Kanyan, just mentioned him in the context of playing against one of his former teammates. When the Firebirds saw the Rangers last week, he had a goal and an assist. He set up the game winner in Connor Clattenburg. He also scored the only goal in regulation. Now he's tied for second on the team in points with 6 of them. 3 goals and 3 assists for the overager. One guy who has looked extraordinarily comfortable and confident ever since he found his way here to Flint, Michigan. Well, we've got the Firebirds and the Kitchener Rangers for the second time in the span of 5 days. Flint meeting up with Kitchener, trying to make it 3 consecutive wins so far this season, making it now 4 out of 5 to open up the regular season. Flint at 3-1-0-0. Kitchener on the other side of things actually leads its division. It is now 2-1-0 on the year. So should be a fun one here today. Going to be a good crowd for a Wednesday. The Firebirds and the Rangers, hoping to give them lots of reasons to get up and cheer. As we roll along here on the pregame show, we're going to step aside in just a moment. When we come back, we'll get the starting lineup introductions, the national anthems, ceremonial puck drop, all that and more as we roll along on the pregame show. We got the Firebirds and the Rangers coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This has been the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive, and this is Firebirds Hockey on the Firebirds Hockey Network.
Hello? Are you there? The Shea Megalot is hosting their annual pre-owned lease pull-ahead. Are you upside down on your trade? Over on your miles? We'll buy your car.
Don't just turn your lease in.
We'll buy your car.
Is your current payment too high?
We'll buy your car.
Trapped in your lease?
We'll buy your car.
Not in the market for a car?
We'll still buy your car.
Are your service bills adding up?
We'll buy your car.
Bad credit?
We'll buy your car. Plus, the Shea Megalot has over 500 pre-owned and certified vehicles to choose from. Just Shea'n.